More than a few people have asked to hear this poem. This is called The Avalanche Knows You. The avalanche is coming down on every culture. The avalanche pours forth from the mouth of the sea. The avalanche is coming down around your shoulders. The avalanche is coming down upon the broken dream. You can't undress it. You can't stroke it. You can't bring it home or caress it with your will. The avalanche is talking to your daughter. The avalanche is wrecking your peaceful sleep. The avalanche knows you. The avalanche disturbs your little shoes in the closet. The avalanche makes your dog cower and wince and glance over his shoulder. The avalanche causes an illness to sing in the petticoats, causes a madman to burn the minister's house, causes a long dark train to burn all night and then explode. The avalanche wills it. The avalanche wills it so. The avalanche is coming down on the new religion. The avalanche is coming down on the dull credo, on the old sanctimony, on the diseased mission. The avalanche is whispering at the nape of your neck, speaking the epistles you do not wish to hear. The avalanche is gunning down your neighbors. The avalanche is in your garage screwing with your recommended tire pressure. You can't tame it with your arguments. You can't make it go home. You can't label it tyranny and be done with it. You can't say, wait a minute, I'm on the phone. The avalanche knows you. The avalanche is waiting for you after the dance. The avalanche is waiting for you at the little ceremony. The avalanche is dressed in patent leather shoes, a white corsage. The avalanche is coming down on your Chevy. The avalanche is coming down on your trombone and your green velvet coat. The avalanche is biting the hand that feeds you. The avalanche is coming down across the dashboard. The avalanche is refusing to grant you redemption, saying, I'm not through with you yet. The avalanche won't talk to you about mercy or offer you a glass of wine. The avalanche will crush you first, and then it won't marry you in the morning. Listen. Do you hear that? Like branches breaking. We are a completely materialistic culture. There is almost nothing of spirituality left in America now. And I say that as a challenge, but even much of our religion is materialism in another cloak. It's more about structures and rules and divisions than it is about ecstasy and longing and the love of the essence of all of it, you know. So there's an old story, an old Zen story that tells this beautifully. You know, it's the story in which there's a great old Zen master, and he lives in a hut at the bottom of a mountain. And there's a young man that comes and wants to be his student and bugs him about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, the old man gives in enough. He doesn't say anything, but he gives in enough. The student is demanding truth. The student is saying, I want truth. Give me truth. You've got it. Give it to me. So the old man just points to the moon. He lifts his hand and he points to the moon. And he does this with great sadness because he knows full well that the student will never see the moon. The student will only see his finger pointing at the moon, and his finger will blot out that moon. That's the difference between the chalice and the wine. As human beings, really as all beings, but we'll talk about human beings since we happen to be walking around in this kind of skin. Human beings, every single one of us, no matter how awake or how decrepit we all are seeking truth with a capital T, the real essence. And we are all amazingly lazy, and it is very easy for us to think that we found truth when all we found is a book or a structure or a particular kind of hat to wear.
The container, the vessel, the chalice. How does the avalanche fit into that story?
Well, the avalanche, I wish I could say. That poem arose, it's much more of a feeling than an intellectual. It's hard for me to put a nail on it. But there is, let's say that there are realities that we, living in a materialistic culture, try desperately to deny and ignore. And those realities are spiritual. And the truth is that if we pretend that we are civilized when we're not, then the avalanche will fall down on us when we least expect it. And it will fall on us at every turn. Shaving in the mirror in the morning, and suddenly there's the avalanche, And we all know that feeling, but we all try desperately to run away from it. And it's a beautiful thing. The Buddhists, particularly Tibetan Buddhists, go out of their way when the avalanche arrives to sit down in the midst of it and allow it to cover them and to breathe with it and to be with it. It's the exact opposite of what we do here. And that culture is being destroyed by materialism. It's amazing to watch. Just as the American Indians were annihilated here by materialism, now that same thing is happening to this incredibly sensitive, tender, truly spiritual, truly visionary culture.
It strikes me, John, as you talk about the avalanche, that the Christian world increasingly sees God as external, the higher power as something outside of us. And when the Eastern religions allow the avalanche to go over them, it's because they meditate and yoga and find an internal God. A lot of your poetry is about ecstasy, joy, healing from the wounds of society which impinge on ourselves, through those wonderful feminine values of compassion and love and forgiveness. That ecstasy, that joy, does it for you come with honoring that internal God, that is the internal divine that's part of all of us, that connects us?
Yeah.
I am God and you are God.
Yeah. The image that came to me long, long ago, I'm 51 now, so it came to me maybe 40 years ago when I was 10 or so. The image that came to me very clearly, despite everything that I was being told, was that God is swimming in your veins, and you are swimming in the veins of God. It's exactly the same ocean. How can you not feel ecstasy in that realization? And despite all of the material madness that I see going on, there's that ecstasy, there's that ecstatic reality that in every molecule is the essence, the very essence, the thing that is beyond any structure, beyond any label that we can put on it. Here's a poem about that. This is called Drunk on Light. When the soul weeps, we call this music. I have heard such cries beyond the confines of the body, and upon entering there, that music eluded me, led me on. When the soul chants in the dark, we call this wine. I have a mouth filled with such elixirs, and drunk on this fine light, my broken tongue thirsts yet again. When the soul lies down with its own body, we call this union glory. But really, try not to look like a fool. What moan, what blessing or curse, what possible combination of uttered sounds could at last give us the lover unveiled? Grind your name into the dirt before it's too late.